G'day guys and gal, life for 99.99% of Chaos followers sucks megaballs, even for Space Marines. They are constantly infighting, making truces, breaking those truces. Life is a non-stop power struggle, where the only way to get to the top is either make a dozen deals with a dozen devils, or be Abaddon. However, for those that are mighty enough to rise to the top, fending off multiple challenges while inflicting damage to the enemies of Chaos, which is everyone, they become Chaos Champions. A wide term for a lot of badasses who wear armor so dope, and makes you wonder how the Dark Mechanicum was able to take all of the Riz during the Horus Heresy. Before we get started, it's Friday baby, and you know what that means. New major mini launch. This time it's the Chaotic Lich Lord, an evil champion of death. If he looks familiar, then get your eyes checked because he totally isn't that guy from that other franchise. This model was months in progress as I wanted to get him perfect. He comes with 2 head variants as well as a custom base. Major Mini ships worldwide for only $10 USD or free if you spend over $75 or more. We have dozens of models from various factions, such as Kitten from the Emperor's armies, the Chaotic Lich Lord from the Chaotic Legions, the Space Elf Avenger Lord from the Space Elves, and the King Orc from the Xeno Forces, with many more on the way. Link is below. Today we'll go over the Chaos Champions, how you become one, what qualifies as a champion, the various different types of champions, as well as some of the notable champions in the setting you should know about. Let's get into it. As the Horus Heresy came to a close, a lot of Trader Marines had done some pretty epic shit, whilst also guzzling the Chaos Kool-Aid. This made them the natural war leaders and champions for post-Heresy Chaos, who was just trying to get its bearings after getting skull-fucked during the Scouring. Marines who were previously company captains were now hulking monsters, flesh fused to Terminator armor. Now Chaos had never really been good at uniformity or the assignment of roles and ranks, so the term Chaos Champion can be used pretty loosely, like are they only a legitimate champion if they've been marked by one of the Chaos Gods, or are they a champion if they're a badass and warriors chant their name before battle. But for the sake of education of lore, I'll try to keep it as straightforward as possible. Post-Heresy, there were numerous Chaos champions. Khan was a champion of Khorne, Typhus a champion of Nurgle, Ahriman an unwilling champion of Tzeentch, and Lucius being the champion of Slaanesh. But then there were also infamous warband leaders, like Falcus Khyber, who somehow returned to life after getting turbo killed by Nathaniel Garro. All of these were heroes or villains depending which side of the Horus Heresy you were on. But let's say you're a bright-eyed young Chaos Marine who wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. You want to become a Chaos Champion and through that, either a Warlord or even a Demon Prince, which is often considered to be the prize as to why so many people risk everything to follow Chaos. How do you go about becoming a Chaos Champion though? Well, you can't just apply and do multiple rounds of interviews. You need to get the attention of your patron god. If you're a Death Guard, you need Nurgle's attention. If you're an Emperor's Children, you need Slaanesh to jerk his many gherkins to you, and so on. You will need to raise Imperial worlds, slay enemy heroes, make sacrifices to your patron god, and all around just fit the vibe. You need to want it as well, like really bad. If you somehow manage to survive long enough to cut off an Exarch's head or rip the spine out of an Emperor's champion, then you will receive the Mark of Chaos. A mark that says, yeah buddy, you think you're hot shit, now's your chance to prove it. This turns you into an aspiring champion. The meaning is in the name and we aren't all retarded, so I don't have to explain what that means. This is just the start though. Sure, you're now cool enough to lead your own squad or be given a small measure of command to prove yourself, but you now have a shitload of rivals. The gods are very picky with who they allow to become their champions, and they get a stiffy every time 2 aspiring champions kill each other. From here there is a shitload of potential upgrade and side grade paths the aspiring champion can take. If they kill a rival aspiring champion who has Terminator armor, then they can take the armor and become a Terminator champion, often allowing them to lead their own squad of Terminators. They could choose to merge with a demon and become a possessed champion. While that does give them a big boost in power, it is also a bit of a side grade as it caps how far they can go after it. As they become more and more impressive, their gods will bless them more and more with mutations. Eventually they become one of 4 pre-champions, that being a Plague Champion, Skull Champion, Aspiring Sorcerer, or Noise Champion. These aren't the true champions, more so like elite units dedicated to their patron god. However, they are only one step away from becoming a true champion at this point, or becoming a Chaos Spawn, but more on that later. On rare occasions, some Chaos Marines can go down the route of becoming a Chaos Champion of Undivided. Balancing the desires of all 4 Chaos Gods is a bit of a tricky one, as they are all a bunch of temperamental bastards. This is usually reserved for members of the Black Legion or the occasional Wordbearer, but since the Wordbearers seemingly forgot they're in the setting at all, I'd say it's mostly for the Black Legion. Now when you do everything right, you've pruned some noobs, pruned some pros, fought off every challenge to your ascension via killing just as many aspiring Chaos Champions as enemy heroes, you'll reach the final decision. You'll be covered in legendary gear, perhaps you have a relic or demon weapon. Billions will know your name either in fear or awe. The Eldar Farseers curse you as a scourge upon the galaxy, whilst even the greatest of the Imperium's heroes hesitate when they know they have to engage you in battle. One of 2 things will then happen. Either 1, congrats, you're now a Chaos Champion. You get a big power boost, an army flocks to your banner and you're ready to fuck. Or quite hilariously, you will turn into a Chaos Spawn and be nothing but a mindless, agonized abomination that will act as a bolt shell sponge until you're annihilated, your twisted soul screaming as it enters the warp and is devoured. The grim thing about the Chaos Spawn option is that it can either occur because you're too arrogant, or you'll be an ineffectual champion, or the Chaos God was just bored and thought it would be funny. There have been aspiring champions who would have been legendary champions, but instead got turned into Chaos Spawns just for the memes, which that is, yeah, pretty fucking hilarious. As a champion of Chaos, you will lead the armies of Chaos across the galaxy, claiming souls in the name of your patron god. From here, you'll either eventually get rewarded and transformed into an immortal demon prince, the ultimate goal for most Chaos followers, or if the Chaos Gods deem you too valuable as a mortal, meaning they like the fact that they can send you into any war zone because you aren't a demon so you can't get banished from a lack of warp presence, then they will just empower you as much as possible without turning you into a demon. This is why the greatest champions of each Chaos God, that being Khan, Lucius, Typhus, Ahriman, and Abaddon, will never become demon princes. They are too valuable. When Chaos wants to invade somewhere, they first need to send in the Chaos Cultists and Chaos Marines, who then corrupt the battlefield enough for the demon legions to be able to spawn. If all the good champions become demons, then there would be no one to make spawning them actually doable. In saying that, those Chaos champions are so overly empowered that you wouldn't even consider them mortal anymore. Lucius can infinitely respawn, Khan has died and was brought back by Khorne, Typhus cannot die, and Ahriman is Ahriman. So basically they have all the perks of demonhood without any of the negatives. So now you know what a Chaos champion is and how you become one, let's look at some of the known champions to see if the role is really as glamorous as it seems. First, we have Arghast the Pillager. Despite being a member of the Black Legion, he was actually a champion of Khorne, but he was pretty flexible. Thus, he did use sorcerers and another Khornite warriors in his forces. I mean, fuck, the dude even used sorcery himself. However, he was a bit of a turbo dick, with his warriors only fighting alongside him out of fear. He was abandoned by his allies and slaughtered like a dog by the Blood Ravens during the Second Aurelian Crusade. Womp womp. Then we have Asmodeus, a champion of Slaanesh who was so powerful that Abaddon gave him one of his Arcs of Omen in return for the champion finding him a key fragment. However, as this dude was a champion of Slaanesh, i.e. a backstabbing slut, Abaddon left a Terminator honor guard to watch over Asmodeus, as much to protect him as to murder him if he tried to renege on their deal. Excoriator was a champion of Tzeentch that led his own warband. When he invaded the Styges system, the Fireclaws chapter went to engage. Excoriator came face to face with a Fireclaws librarian and the two wizards dueled. It took the deaths of 4 of his brothers to give the librarian an opening to kill Excoriator, cutting his head off with the champion's own sword. Not all Chaos champions are in fact Space Marines. These days almost all of them are, as a mortal Chaos champion doesn't stand a chance against an Astartes version, but before the Horus Heresy, the Chaos Gods had to rely on non-Space Marine mortals to be the instruments of their will. Kerngar was one such champion, and boy was he powerful. However, he was also wildly arrogant, and he declared that he could never be killed in battle. So Khorne sent Skulltaker, his greatest duelist, to test the theory. The theory crumbled as Skulltaker cut off Kurganar's head and added it to his massive collection. Maltrius was a champion of Nurgle. Now Nurglite bitches are hard as hell to kill due to their regenerative abilities. However, not even a stinky boy can survive having his ship vaporized in the void, which is exactly what happened to Maltrius. A slightly more successful champion of Nurgle, we now have Repugnus, nice name. He was heavily involved in the invasion of Corvin II, where the Death Guard squared off against the Ultramarines. Repugnus led a boarding action against the Ultramarines but was repelled. However, he was tenacious and continued to fight in the war, his final fate not entirely clear. Then there was Varlag the Butcher, champion of Khorne. During a battle between the World Eaters and Iron Hands, Varlag challenged Ironfather Cardan Stronos to a 1v1. Now World Eaters are tough, but you really shouldn't fuck with Iron Hands. They quite literally have nothing to lose and are the definition of cold logic. A wild berserker fighting style might be good against the Ultramarines, but against an Iron Hand, it's like a non-verbal autistic kid doing the arm spinny attack thingo. As Varlag charged, Cardan cut off his head with a single swing, ending the duel instantly. Zargan Iron Fist was a champion of Slaanesh who was a very naughty boy. He was expelled from the Emperor's children for raiding his captain's palace and crucifying his prostitutes. Not okay. After his exile, he followed a demon prince and eventually got his hands on a small fleet of his own. However, his ship would be destroyed by a rogue trader vessel near the Eye of Terror. Finally, there is Zelek Blackshade, a champion of Khorne. We don't know much about his lore, but he is an extremely old character, ranging back to 1991, and he actually looks awesome, featuring a scorpion tail and a helmet shaped like a bloodletter. Of course, there are many more champions out there, but these were sort of the best examples. As you can see, being a Chaos champion is an occupational hazard. Your patron god will not intervene in fate to save you. You do not get plot armor just because you're a champion. If anything, it increases your chance of death, as now you have to be hyper aggressive and risky in order to to maintain your warband's respect and the approval of your god. If you become a champion, but then you become a pussy, your chaos god will either chaos spawn your ass, or your second in command will shank you and take your warband. Just another example of why joining chaos fucking sucks. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Chaotic Lich Lord, a stunning new model scaled to tabletop, which would be a fucking awesome champion for your next warband. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more championed content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.